In our recent one-hour interview with Los Angeles Unified School Board member David Tarkovsky, we asked him to tell us what the school district is going to do with another $3.95 billion bond, which they intend to place on the November ballot.
Bond measure is needed because under the Williams consent decree, all the year-round multi-track Concept 6 schools have to end by the year 2012. And the only way LA Unified can get schools, the scores of schools that are on Concept 6, off Concept 6, is to build out of that crisis, or to have, tens of thousands of kids move to Riverside and help us out. But right now, we need to build our way out of it, and so we need a fourth bond, and that bond will go to the voters in November. That'll be the fourth since 1997, April 97.
The four bonds Mr. Tarkovsky refers to are the BB bond, passed in 1997, the K bond, passed in 2000, and the R bond in 2004, and now another bond in 2005. The total bonds is over $13.8 billion, which, when combined with matching state funds, exceeds $27 billion. Apparently, this vast sea of money isn't enough because Mr. Tarkovsky has put onto the table an additional parcel tax proposal. We asked him why he thought that more money is needed by the district.
Why I opened up for the first time in LA Unified the discussion of a small parcel tax for a limited number of years is that we have cut our budget 4 years in a row, but in November the voters are going to be asked to vote on this measure called Live Within Your Means. And it seemed to me to be responsible that if Sacramento was putting at risk the funding for public education by this measure, that the people of LA ought to be given the option of supporting financially their own schools.
$27 billion is more money than the budget of 30 state governments. Many skeptics fear that the insatiable LAUSD appetite for more and more money is due to the waste and mismanagement cited in the Inspector General's reports and demonstrated in the notorious scandals surrounding the Belmont Learning Center complex. Here's what Inspector General Don Mullenix had to say about the Belmont demolition.
We're still paying off COPs on Belmont, which is just sitting there 60% done, and they're tearing it down to rebuild it. We're still paying back out of general fund money COPs from 6 years ago.
For example, District Attorney Steve Cooley had this to say.
The Belmont High School project, the Belmont Learning Center, was probably the worst public works disaster perhaps in the history of the country, at least in terms of school building. A lot went wrong over there.
What caused this public works disaster? We asked Roger Carrick, who served as Chief Legal Counsel to the Inspector General on the Belmont investigation.
What we did was examine each of the issues, and what we found was enormous waste, fraud, and abuse.
Roger Carrick referred to Don Mullenix, who recently retired from his position as Inspector General for the LA Unified School District. After the Belmont fiasco, Don Mullenix had made recommendations to the school district to prevent further abuses. He specifically identified the need for ethics training for employees, but somehow his efforts proved futile.
In 2000, the board voted and approved a comprehensive revised ethics code that our office helped develop. And when we hired an ethics officer, the ethics officer felt it was more important to revise the code than implement the code. And it took several months to do that, and just recently that code was actually published. But the problem I have now is it's not been implemented. There's very little training going on with district employees. We have 80,000 employees, probably less than 2,000 have been trained on ethics. There's very little, we've received hardly any referrals from the ethics office to investigate any type of violations. So I think there needs to be greater focus on ethics, especially in the environment in which we're about to enter into, spending millions and millions of dollars. We need to make sure that the district's culture is one above reproach.
Ready or not, the LA Unified School District wants more money. But is there the proper oversight and protections in place to assure this new river of cash will be appropriately spent for the benefit of the children? Mr. Tokovsky is adamant that the district must have the bond measure to complete the various school building projects, and then the parcel tax to staff and equip all the new buildings.
But given the fact that Sacramento has, put us in 49th out of 50 states, your question is a legitimate one. And that's why I was saying that really, like many states in the union, you cannot do a capital bond in some of the key industrial states in America without asking the voters to equip it inside at the same time as you build the bricks and mortar. And so that's why I was saying, look, we've had 3 facilities bonds matched by state facilities bonds. We're going to a 4th facilities bond. We have an edifice complex. But what we don't have inside is the ingredients to make the education as high a quality as it could and should be, and to give the teachers, once we diminish these schools to 2,500 or 2,000 kids, a fighting chance with the resources to make it happen. And that's why I raised the discussion of the parcel tax. Over 100 districts in the state have done these, mostly in areas where there's been higher capital wealth than LA Unified. But I think, we're going to have to look at some of these things unless something changes in Sacramento.
What do you think? Does it sound like the LA Unified School District really needs the money and will benefit the children? Do you think that they merely need the money to maintain their power? And since the state contributes matching funds, are you willing to continue to send your tax dollars to support the LA Unified School District? Please respond to our survey and leave your comments. Thank you.